he wasn't just fighting Saladin. Richard the Lionheart was actively trying to marry his own sister to Saladin's brother, Al-Adil, in a desperate bid to politically carve up the Holy Land. Forget the grand, romanticized image of the warrior king leading charges. What if the most iconic crusader wasn't primarily a battlefield hero, but a master diplomat, a pragmatic schemer who would shock us all? You are about to discover how recently re-examined medieval texts, alongside fresh archaeological insights from the sieges of Acre, completely dismantle the legend and reveal Richard Plantagenet as a ruthless, brilliant political strategist whose unexpected alliances with Muslim leaders changed the very nature of the Third Crusade. The popular narrative of Richard I, emblazoned across centuries of historical retelling, paints a picture so vivid you can almost hear the clash of steel. He is the quintessential knight, brave, chivalrous, a peerless military commander, a Christian champion who journeyed thousands of miles to reclaim Jerusalem from the Muslim forces of Saladin. This image is meticulously crafted, largely thanks to chroniclers like Ambrose in his Histoire de la Guerre Sainte, and later, romanticized Victorian tales that solidified him as the epitome of crusading valor. You envision him in shining armor, a lion amongst men, his sword cutting through the Saracen lines at Arsuf, driven solely by faith and a thirst for holy war. Our textbooks for generations have presented this version, a clear-cut struggle between two opposing forces, good versus evil, east versus west. But this story, while compelling, is only a fraction of the truth. It conveniently omits the complex, often cynical, political landscape that Richard navigated with astonishing skill. The sheer scale of the Third Crusade, its monumental costs in lives and treasure, the warring ambitions of European monarchs, and the fierce independence of local barons meant that no victory could be achieved by brute force alone. It was a pressure cooker of alliances, betrayals, and endless negotiation, a stage upon which pure military prowess was often secondary to a sharp political mind. And it is precisely in this shadowed arena that Richard truly shone, leaving behind a trail of diplomatic maneuvers that defy the simple hero narrative. The truth is, Richard was playing a game of geopolitical chess on a scale few monarchs of his era could even conceive. And his opponents weren't just on the battlefield. Think about this: while his armies were besieging Acre, while European princes bickered and deserted, Richard was engaging in direct, protracted negotiations with the very enemy he was supposed to be annihilating. His most audacious gambit? A proposal detailed in both Abu Shamma's Kitab al-Rod Datain and Imad ad-Din al-Isfahani's chronicle al-Fath al-Qusi fi Fath al-Qudsi. The proposal that Jerusalem be granted to a new, independent kingdom formed by the marriage of his sister, Joan of Sicily, to Saladin's own brother, Al-Adil. This wasn't some fleeting idea. It was a serious, multi-round negotiation that would have fundamentally reshaped the political geography of the Levant. Richard was willing to carve out a new state, one ruled by a Christian queen and a Muslim prince, to end the conflict and secure a lasting peace for pilgrims. He wasn't just thinking about a military conquest, he was envisioning a political solution that transcended the religious fervor of the Crusades. He saw Jerusalem not merely as a prize to be won by force, but as a strategic asset to be managed, traded, and even shared if it served his larger objectives. This level of pragmatic diplomacy, directly with his sworn enemy, is almost unimaginable within the traditional narrative. Did your school textbooks ever mention Richard offering his sister's hand to a Muslim prince to settle the fate of the Holy Land? Probably not, because it complicates the clean-cut hero-villain dynamic so deeply ingrained in our collective memory. This was a man who understood power, not just piety. These revelations aren't based on speculative reinterpretation. They are grounded in the hard evidence of surviving correspondence and contemporary historical accounts from both Christian and Islamic perspectives, allowing us to triangulate the true nature of these astonishing exchanges. Historians like Stephen Runciman and Carol Hillenbrand have meticulously pieced together these fragments, showing that Richard's diplomatic efforts were as relentless as his military campaigns. Beyond the marriage proposal, there were numerous ceasefires and truces negotiated at critical junctures, not out of weakness, but out of a strategic necessity and a desire to achieve his objectives through means other than bloodshed. Consider the archaeological insights emerging from the long-term excavations at Acre. While we see the massive fortifications and the remnants of fierce battles, we also uncover evidence of extensive marketplaces, thriving trade routes, and areas designed for negotiation, even during the most intense periods of siege. These physical spaces speak to a reality far more nuanced than constant warfare, a reality where merchants, diplomats, and messengers moved between Christian and Muslim camps, facilitating not only trade, but also crucial political discourse. The very structure of the city, even in its ruined state, hints at its role as a vital hub of interaction, not just a fortress under siege. This constant back and forth, the detailed haggling over territory, over the custody of the true cross, over prisoner exchanges, these were the bedrock of Richard's strategy. He was a master of the deal, always assessing the angles, always looking for the advantage. He understood that ultimate victory often lay not in the final blow, but in the final handshake. You can no longer look at Richard the Lionheart and see just the fearless Crusader. He was that, yes, but he was also a Machiavellian pragmatist, a political animal who understood that power was about more than just a sword. He saw the world not through the narrow lens of religious dogma alone, but through the wide, calculating eyes of a ruler determined to achieve his goals by any means necessary. Your understanding of the Crusades themselves shifts from a simple religious war to a complex, multi-layered geopolitical struggle where faith was often a banner for very earthly ambitions. It makes us question every simplistic hero narrative we've ever been taught. The historical record is not a static monolith, but a living, breathing archive of human ambition, contradiction, and surprise, and we are just scratching the surface of what it truly holds.